All right, everybody, welcome to Chatting with You. This is episode number 12, and I'm here with
Gadiel Rosario.
Karla.
And I'm Michael Urbina. So today we're going to talk about scary stories that's happened to us throughout our careers, whether in court, not in court, clients, whatever it may be. And given that this week is Halloween, we figured that it would be a really cool topic to discuss with you guys and kind of let you know a little bit of behind the scenes stuff that we have to deal with, not just regular back and forth, or it's definitely not as you can see in Boston Legal or Law and Order. It's actually real life scary or traumatizing stuff, you know? So I don't know if you guys want me to start, you want to start.
Well, I mean, since you have the most experience, I think you should go first.
Yeah, code word for old. All right. So I got a lot, but I guess I'll share just a couple. I guess when I first opened the firm, there was this particular client that had a really good case, and we drew the best judge. I mean, overall, it was just everything seemed to fill like all the dots of this case is going to be great. And I prepared him for like a week, you know, because at that point it was just me. I handled everything, like the phones, everything, whatnot. So I had a lot of time to go to ACDC and visit this guy. And we finally get to the hearing. We get a good prosecutor who's now a judge in Dallas. And, you know, all he had to do was literally go there and say, you know, I'm sorry about what I did. You know, I think it was like 7 years ago. And I'll never do it again. And he got to keep his green card. So he goes, we do the direct examination. He's doing it great. And then the government starts asking him questions. And then all of a sudden he decides to get a conscience attack and decides to go on this rant about how he drinks every day and becomes really violent every day. So like literally the government's like, so do you drink every day? So he's like, oh yeah, I get drunk every day. And she's like, so do you think you can wean off the alcohol? It's like, no, I can't live without alcohol. I'm like, okay, this is going bad. And then
it's like, understandable, Michael.
It's not understandable. Not when your life is on the line. Then he proceeds and she's like, so are you just a violent person? Like, oh yeah. She's like, do you get more violent when you drink? It's like, oh yeah, very violent. Like, oh God.
I think at that point he was hitting on her. Like that's what women like to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know about that. I'll leave that to your experience. But what made it worse, aside from, I mean, he just kept going saying like literally incriminating thing after incriminating thing. I just like literally just buried my head in my arms like, okay, like we're done. The judge looks at me and just goes like, you're done too? When he finishes and he thinks it all went great, he literally from the like, you know, the stand goes like
thumbs up.
No, that was bad. Needless to say, we did not win that case. Nevertheless, I got to keep him here through another avenue, but he did not get to keep his green card, so he lost his green card. So a week of preparation, fantastic case, good judge, good prosecutor, and the client just decides to talk about his drunken, violent ways on a day. Oh, that was another thing. He attacked this guy with a knife. So she asked him why he attacked the guy with a knife. He's like, because I couldn't find my gun. I'm like, great.
Wow.
Just great. Keep going. So yeah, that's one story. Probably one of the worst moments I've ever had to endure in court.
Wow.
So how early on in your career was that?
Year 3. No. And it wasn't one of those things like, I mean, I prepped him. I went over things with him. Like he spoke good English. There was not a language barrier. He just, I don't know, literally just went off the reservation and decided to talk about everything incriminating he could possibly incriminate. Oh, he added at some point also like, oh, I haven't done my taxes. I don't know if that's a problem. Like nobody asked you about that. Like that's not even a question that's been posed to you, sir. Like why would you just outwardly offer that? I mean, it was just everything that came out of his mouth after I finished my direct was just awful. It was like case dead. Now it's super dead. Now it's buried. Now it's in hell. Like it just kept going down and down and down. I was like, and then the taxes was just like the cherry on top. Like, oh, and by the way, bing, I'm a terrible person. Just letting you know.
So after the fact, at least the person understood what went wrong.
Oh yeah, he did. He was like, I don't know what happened to me. I was like, I don't know what happened to you either. He's like, so am I gonna have to go back? I'm like, no, I got something for you, but you're not gonna get to keep your green card. He's like, oh well, I mean, at least I get to stay. But I was like, yeah, but without a green card. So yeah, it was just I
guess that's another good thing about managing expectations.
Oh, I I told him, I was like, all you have to do is get up there and say you're sorry. And he got up there and did the absolute opposite. So that was another thing. She was like, how likely are you to get violent or drunk again? He's like, pretty likely. I'm like, I mean, literally, it was just like one after the other. It's just awful. So yeah. But you?
Okay, so that's pretty tough to top. I'll do my
terrifying.
best. I'll do my best. This story still gives me the chills. Karla was there with me. Had the pleasure to be there with me.
Yep.
It was surreal. It was surreal, and it was my first individual. So that was, that's the first time I.
You should have left it at. It was my first time doing an individual.
Brutal. Already.
So basically, this client came. It wasn't a really good case, anyways, but it took a turn to the worse. Basically, we did I think you prepped him, right? Michael prepped him, but it was, I knew the questions that we were gonna do. I knew the answers he was gonna give. So same thing. I did my direct. Everything went pretty well. I thought it was like, okay, this is good. At least we're gonna have the judge think about it, and we look good, and we can appeal. If we have to appeal, we can appeal. So I do the direct. I finish the direct, and then the solicitor, the government, starts asking him questions, but he takes out the credible fear interview document that was given to him at the border. Okay, so I did not have that document. We did not know he had done a credible fear interview, as far as I know. So then, but even then, okay, everything's fine because it's his story. It should match, right? So guess what? It did not match at all. To sum it up, basically, he asked him, well, your name. He answered it again. And then from then on, every answer to the questions that the solicitor made were no. It was like, okay, so you told the officer that you went to the town. No. It's like, but you said that. Next question. You told him that you were kidnapped by gang members. No. Like, what is going on? The only time he said yes was to what he actually had spoken about during that direct, which was that his boss was killed. That was the only thing he said yes. The other stuff, how it came to be, what he was doing, with who he was doing, what he told in court versus what he has told on the credible fear statement, were totally opposite, to the extent that he very convincingly and looking straight at the eyes of the solicitor said, no, I did not say that. No, I did not say that. And I was like, what is going on? Nothing in that story is, it's real. And that's done under oath. So, of course, it took a turn for the worse. The solicitor, I think he did it on purpose. He kept on asking all of the basically going line by line of all of the questions that the officer made. So we were there like 25 minutes. All questions that he had responded something to the officer in the interview, he said no, that never happened. And it was brutal because 20 minutes there, he asking him questions, no. And he looked at me, but I was like, my God, what is this? So basically he forgot what he told the officer at the border.
Yeah.
He forgot.
At least he got the name right. It's not like my mom always tells a story that in high school there was this guy that copied an exam off the girl next to him. He actually wrote down her name on his exam too. So when the exam came back, the teacher was like, so Jennifer apparently took the exam twice, and Jose, you didn't take it, so you get a 0, and Jennifer got 200s. So that could have been a similar story in that situation. At least he got his name right.
Yeah, he got his name right.
Some credit.
His name right, and the person who was allegedly killed, he said yes. I was like waiting to see wait, you just said that happened. So if you say no to this, then. But I know the solicitor enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. He took his time. He went through all of it. It was like 5 pages. He even had a copy for me ready. of the credible affair interview.
I will say that was pretty brutal to watch.
So of course
I can only imagine how he was feeling as you were doing your direct. He probably like in his head, he's like, "This is gonna be fun."
With like a maniacal.
But there were some things that he could have. I think there were some things that he could have like explained. Like, oh no, I said that, but I really meant this or that.
Oh, you mean the client?
The client.
The prosecutor.
The client.
Why were you explaining it? Like,
no, the client. But he was like, no.
And he was adamant.
And he was like, yeah, adamant. Like, and he was, and the solicitor at first, he was like, wait, you didn't tell him, and he read it verbatim, and he's like, no, I did not say that. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember looking back at you like, what is going on? And you were like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. And of course, the judge was like, well, counsel, is there any reason I shouldn't find this case to be frivolous? I was like, well, Your Honor, I kind of still felt I had to say something. But I think I opened my mouth and nothing came out, and she just kept on going.
It's like, well,
I think I said like, well, Your Honor, I didn't have the credible fear interview. Like, I was kind of defending myself.
It's like, you can find him frivolous, but I didn't do it.
Can I be excused, Your Honor?
I want to get withdrawn right now, and then you can find the frivolous
immediately.
So I was shaking, and and I was thinking in my head like, what do I do for a closing statement? But I don't have a closing statement. But the judge was like, at this point, I'm pretty sure you don't want to do a closing statement, so I'll just wrap this up.
Thank God for that.
Thank God that judge is no longer here for right now, apparently.
Yeah. Well.
Really?
Yeah. That's a scary story right there.
Wow.
Just the fact that he's coming back, maybe.
Wait, that was him? That was not him.
No.
That was him.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was her.
No, I thought it was him. I thought it was Big B.
No, it was
somebody else.
Somebody
That's not
else.
who you're thinking about.
Somebody else.
Well, traumatizing.
You're traumatized.
I am traumatized.
You think it was him when he wasn't even here? He had been gone for like a year. You're like, it was him. Like, where'd you see him?
No.
Wow.
Well,
that's a great segue to you.
On that note,
let us know how he scares you.
Well, since I am the least experienced one, aka youngest,
and that wraps up another episode of Chatting with You.
I have had more traumatizing experiences in the past year. I would say that one of the most terrifying was also when our clients go off the rails. I was at a bond hearing and, I had talked to the client, say this. The judge doesn't really care about this, so don't worry about saying. He's like, no, but I want to say it. Just don't say it. Okay. We get there. The judge asked him one question, and he, first of all, doesn't answer that question, goes off on a rant saying how coming in isn't a crime. His only crime was like driving without a license. And the judge goes, okay, stop right there, sir. And you can see it in his face. He's like, I'm going to enjoy this.
He picked the worst judge to say.
He took his glasses off. That's when you know it was done. He goes, sir, did you say that coming into the United States is not a crime? Okay, awesome. Denied.
Just for that.
Yep. Right then and there.
Right there.
And I just sat there and I was like, I didn't even get a chance to talk. I didn't get a chance to argue anything. He was just like, we're done listening to you.
Was the client like, I want my money back?
Oh no, he kept going. He just kept talking. As the judge is trying to give his order and say you're denied, he just like, no, but I need you to hear me. No, but you need to understand what I'm saying. And they're just like, sir, just be quiet. We're done.
Wow.
So after the fact, this story gets scarier because after the fact, apparently he claims to have no recollection of what happened.
I can believe that he blacked out. He just went off like a maniac.
He calls the office to talk to me and say that Karla didn't do anything, that she just sat there, that he was just railed by the judge for no reason whatsoever.
None.
When he's a law-abiding citizen, I mean, just goes off.
So he gave you the same speech that he gave the judge.
Yeah. So I just let him finish. After he went on for a while, I was like, okay. So I was told, not just by Ms. Verma, but also by the prosecutor, that they told me that you went off the reservation and started literally telling the judge how crimes that he finds to be serious are not, and that he needs to be listening to you. So you were dictating the course of action to the judge. That's correct? It's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, so you tell me, if you were the judge, would you grant your own bond? No. I'm like, yeah. So whose fault is it? Is it Ms. Burma's or is it yours? Like, you're right, it was me. So can we ask him to give us another bond here? I'm like, no, we cannot. We're not going to go down that path. That was, you messed up your one chance because you decided to just like literally, okay, we started. All right. Hey, I got to say something.
Let me tell you how this is going to go, Judge.
Yeah.
Listen here.
I don't care that it's your courtroom. I am the detainee. You're going to listen to me. So yeah, it was bad. And then there was a lot of stuff that happened after the fact. And it was just
scary all around.
Yep. Still, the scariest story is what I'm about to tell you. It's like, to this day, I still get chills. So I guess this was like 2015, maybe? Yeah, 2015. I remember I got really sick. Everybody in my house got really sick, like the kids, everybody. So my wife takes me to the urgent care. And I'm just like sitting there waiting the 3 hours that you have to wait till I get called. And all of a sudden I start getting like text messages. I don't recognize the number. It's not saved or anything like that. But it's just like a string of pictures. It's like this lady like in like jeans and a t-shirt, right? The next picture was like this lady in jeans and a t-shirt with no shoes. And then it's like the next one is jeans, no t-shirt, just a bra and no shoes. And it just keeps going little by little like that. I'm like, oh my God, Giselle, like I did not request this. Just look at it. It's happening. I didn't do it. And yep, they just kept going and going. And then once there was no other frame of things to take off, then it got to posing and weird stuff, you know? So finally, I just said, I recognized who the lady was. She was the mom of a minor client that we had at the time. So I'm like, ma'am, I don't think you intend to send these to me. I'm your daughter's lawyer. She's like, you got all of those? I'm like, all of them. Every single one of them. She stopped replying immediately. And she came one time after that to the office. And then she acted like nothing ever happened. I just could have stopped her and be like,
I mean, how do you come back from that? Like,
you don't.
That's the only way to go.
I was shocked that she came back,
happened.
period. I would have just sent my daughter and be like, Uncle Tito, can you take, can you take my daughter to the lawyer's office? Because I can't look at that man in the face, like ever again. But she showed up and was like normal. And she was like, oh, thank you for everything. I'm like, no, thank you for stopping the text. Like, you have no idea how thankful I am for that. So to this day, those images are ingrained in my head. Unfortunately, not in a good way. So yeah, it was that was by far scarier than my previous story. Because it could have cost all sorts of discussions with my wife. And I was like, hey, look, I didn't request anything. It's just happening. You see, it just started from there. I haven't said anything. Just letting you know. So she just thought it was funny. I did not find it funny. I found it like nightmarish. Like I couldn't sleep for a few days. Even with the sleeping pills they gave me at the urgent care, it was bad. So y'all got any other scary stories you want to share?
I would say that I have one more that really like scarred me. So it's when you tell your clients, hey, be there 30 minutes earlier, but this client's always late. So you say, you know what, be there an hour earlier. So hearing time comes, still no client. We've already continued this case, I think it was 7 times at this point. So, there was no moving it anymore. The solicitor was like, if your client doesn't show up, they get a bench warrant. He's going to show up. He always shows up. Just late, but he does show up.
No, I know what you're saying.
We're an hour past the hearing time. The judge is on the bench. They're kind of doing all these other cases. They call my client. I get up. I'm like, Your Honor, something must have happened. I'm sure he's on his way. we're good. He's coming. The judge says, counsel, we've rescheduled this a million times. He's going to have to take a bench warrant. Okay, fine. All right, we'll take the bench warrant. I sit there and I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to give him more time. There's still people in the courtroom. We can still save this. I turn around. I hear the door open. It's like a movie. I turn around. Sun shining in. I see my client walking down. And I almost tear up a little bit. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Walks in. We go up before the judge. And we're like, Your Honor, client's here. Let's lift this bench warrant. Close the case. Happy ending. But those 2 hours were excruciating. How do you tell the judge, I know we've been here a million times, but this is different. Today is different. So
yeah. I still think that in spite, and this is kind of more unilateral, but there's nothing scarier than, I don't know if y'all got it, but those nightmares of being called in class in law school and not having done the reading. That traumatized me.
But the teachers, like, they could smell it on you. Like, they
like,
knew.
You didn't read, did you?
It's amazing.
Like, and they specifically, every time they picked the one person that didn't read. And then, that never happened to me, thankfully. But literally, I was like, I don't wish that on anybody. But when they did call on somebody that didn't read, I'm like, ooh.
Oh, no, it's the best.
Popcorn.
It's the best.
Like, but, I mean, there was a few times, and there was one, I'm going to go ahead and confess, like, this is something terrible I did. There was this guy I really didn't like because he always showed up late, left early, had somebody sign him in when he wasn't really there. So I was like, I literally told the property professor, because at that point, the property professor and I were like, tight. And unlike before, because I think he hated me before and I kind of hated him after that. I was like, hey, you know what? You want to torture somebody because you kind of like it? There's this one guy that literally never shows up. So he calls him. He's not there. He's like, it's funny that he's signing in, but he's not here. I'll have to look at that. The next class, he calls him again, and he was there. Needless to say, he had not done the reading. He's like, well, so he made it worse. Instead of like scolding him for not doing it, he's like, I don't care. You're going to have to walk me through this analysis, whether you read it or not. I'm like,
ouch.
I almost wanted to get up and be like, and then everybody's like, that was brutal. Why all of a sudden he picked on him? I was like, I don't know. I wonder how that happened.
But you know what the key is to not being called on when you haven't done the reading?
Raise your hand. Pretend you want to answer.
Yes, but mainly look at their eyes. You are paying attention because the ones that they know is the ones that are not doing eye contact. They told once that to me. I tried it. I think they didn't call me, but I don't know if it was coincidence or something. Maybe I had also, I read, but I don't know. I think that works. I think they look for the eye contact. Whoever's not making eye contact, you didn't read.
So for those of you in law school, stare at your professors.
Stare. He'll think you know everything.
I'm going to digress because there was a law professor who literally, I did eye contact with that specific purpose. She's like, you read, right? So what do you think? I'm like, crap.
Exactly.
So it doesn't always work. Just
they
be
just
careful.
know.
Yeah. It doesn't always work, but I've seen it work.
At least read the first page. Kind of start for a little bit and then be like, but you know what? Why don't we let someone else take a turn at this?
Yeah, when all else fails, just cite to a case that isn't very important. It kind of fits into everything, like international shoe for civil procedure. What's the one for torts for the reasonable person?
Oh,
for
I can't remember
torts, it was like carbolic smoke ball or whatever it was. Like the Fox for property, they all have like a specific kind of case. Just always be like, Your Honor, it's like the Fox case, It's like, how so? There's the Fox and the case with the people and the property.
I'm
talking about. I'm gonna tell you, right? Just the best way to get around it is just be like, it can't help it, but it just reminds me of this. Now, there's always some dude that's gonna go back to like, whatchamacallit, I watched this one episode in Boston Legal. I'm like, oh, it's almost like being called and not knowing. You're like, okay, popcorn, here we go. So, but that to me is far scarier than, to this day, I still get nightmares about getting called and not being ready, even though, again, thank God it never happened. But I'm like, And I wake up and I'm like, why am I worried about that? Like, why am I worried about being called and not I haven't done the
I will
reading?
say though, the version of that now is calendar call. You know what you're supposed to say, and you know when to say it, but you're still like, my next. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Here for the defense. No,
It happens to me.
But you know why? Because all three of us have unique last names from the perspective of the judges.
Exactly.
Our clients have unique names, so a lot of times they'll butcher it, and you don't even know you're being called. So
That's
you literally
what
have to pay
happens.
attention to every second of every day.
Yep.
Like,
Today in Smyrna, they do the roll call, and last time I almost missed it. This time I was not only paying attention to it, I was whatever name she said, I would say it in my head, like, okay, so Jack Ryan. Okay, so Seth. Okay, so to make sure, because it happened to me with one
there
of
was a
them.
Jack Ryan in court today.
No, I'm just making it up, but
he was like Seth Rogen,
Yeah.
But it's
I was
not
like, if
easy
Jack
because
Ryan was in court today.
they change all the syllables and how spell them, and it's tough. It's tough.
is.
it is that really scares me.
Yeah.
Every time I have to go and I'm
No,
like,
and then the thing is that, okay, so Karla Verma and bench warrant.
yeah.
So license
If you
suspension.
don't say it first,
and if
like-
you don't say it,
But then, like,
Your
so
Honor,
you have
actually.
You have a name like Juan Rodriguez, basic,
How many?
simple, very common. But then I've heard judges go, Juan, like,
Mm-hmm.
You're like, that's not my client. Next.
you're like, that can't possibly be it. They couldn't have messed it up that bad. They're like, oh, we called your name. I'm like,
Or sometimes
When?
you're like answering a text, and you're like you think you're listening, and then all of a sudden they look at you like, it's your turn, and I'm like, oh my god.
But
wait
you
a
know what?
second.
I will say,
so you text in court?
No, but I mean, it was roll call.
scary story time, popcorn.
It was to you.
That makes it better. I'm just kidding.
No, I will say though, all the older attorneys, they're like leaned back, relaxing on their
Falling
phone.
asleep.
They get called and they're like, well, Your Honor. Like slowly getting up and like reaching over.
And with that, we'll go ahead.
Sorry. Is that offensive?
Happy Halloween to everybody. Well, we need to end this episode before some real scary stuff happens. So thank you for your time. Hopefully this was entertaining and worth your Halloween week time. Keep watching all the podcasts that we're putting up on. We pull all the video ones on YouTube. We're still in Spotify. We're still on Apple and all the other podcast platforms. Please give us a review on those platforms so we can keep our viewership up. And if you haven't done so, please follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, if you have a Twitter, and any other social media platform you can possibly think of. LinkedIn. Yeah, don't forget LinkedIn. We're everywhere. Okay? So give us a like, give us a follow, consume our content like other people would say. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thank you.